Now this screw has been completely mullered and I can't remove it. I've got a couple of things to try, but it may actually break off because it's been cross-threaded and just mashed in. We may have to replace that. You can see the holes are not in line, which is why this is at a cock and not fitting on the cover properly. I don't actually know if I can do anything about that apart from put a nut, you know, drill one of those holes out and put a nut on the end. Don't understand why they've put the main electronics unit here with the heatsink, which is just completely blocked because of the plate. There's nowhere for the heat to go but into the cabinet. Not a great idea. I'll look to see if I can put it in the back plate so that at least the fins are out in the air. So the connections, one of the connections from the readout goes to the sensor, and I notice now that the sensor is bent. That may be a reason for the odd readings. We can sort that out. So I can take the sensor and disconnect it from there. It doesn't look very well connected actually. The other one, because it's on the pot, is not going to go through that hole, so I'll have to disconnect it from the other end. This is the front panel, and it's bloody horrible. It's just been bent by hand and not very well. It doesn't follow the curve at all. It looked rubbish on the machine. I don't think I'm going to be able to do much with that. You know, these sorts of things, it's visible and it's just noticeable that you just haven't bothered. Moving the last connections, the earth connection here, and the two bolts holding this to the casting. More examples of just couldn't be bothered. They just stuck that in any old angle, and there's only one fixing. There was plenty of room to move that up. On a positive note, they've actually cleaned the location for the earth, because on the mill that was all painted over, and when I buzzed it out, there was no earth. So at least they got something right. Again, you can see that this thing has been painted after it's been assembled. Right, completely dismantled the main components, so we're just left with the bed, and that's what we're going to start with. You know, it's all pretty grim. There's no way, looking at these parts, that you would be forgiven for thinking this was off a 50-year-old machine. There's no way anyone would look at that and say, you've just paid a couple of grand for this, because it's just rubbish. This is just a quick wipe of the bed. Lots of particles of metal filings in it, and it's just filthy. You know, that's the overriding impression you get. It's just filthy. No care, no attention to detail at all. Just been thrown together to get it out the door. And not by someone who understands what they're doing, I don't think. You know, to use the word engineered would be to disrespect the profession. So after the strip down, the first job is to thoroughly clean and degrease everything. I'm just doing that now. And then this side I've done just taking all the sharp edges off. That side's still to be done. It's like a razor. So run a stone along there and make sure that's nice and smooth. In between, in the gap there and at the back, you can see where they've just slapped some black paint on. And I mean slapped it on because it's all over the place. And I'm only assuming it to hide the shit machining. But it was peeling, so I shall take it off. At least I'm not going to cut my fingers now when I roll along there.